Hi, everybody, and welcome to DreamTraxx Live and Uncut. And today I have an awesome special, I know I say this every week, but I have an awesome special guest this week, Amy Lyndon. She's a celebrity booking coach, and we're going to talk about everything under the sun as it deals with the business of auditioning and booking. She is the best there is in the business. And welcome, Amy.
Hey, what a groovy tune you got going there. It's very it had a 70s vibe, the 60s, 70s vibe.
I had Kathleen Coleman from The Land of the Lost back in the 70s. Remember that kid show, The Land of the Lost?
Yeah.
And we played her the theme song for her. We were singing it together, but it's
really, I felt like a bus would go by, and everybody smoking pot, and
That was a pre-Partridge Family, was it? No.
Yeah, it had a groovy thing going on.
So it's so great to have you on the show. You are the premier booking coach. If there's anybody that knows anything about how to get people to book the roles, it's you. You're an incredible person. You're an incredible friend. We've been friends now for what, 7 or 8 years?
Yeah, it's like 8 years.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I've had you out in Vegas. It's always a great time to have you out in Vegas. And then sometimes you come out to Vegas and we just hang out. So that's
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think I've been out to Vegas like 5 times already teaching. Yeah. Yeah, and then you had that big event too.
Yeah, that's correct. That's right.
That was big. What was that called? What was
that? The Get Seen Showcase.
Yeah, that was really cool. You had all these
a lot of my students, that's when they booked their first agent, got their first agent. And
really
deal
cool.
For the show was so awesome. Now we have to do those via Zoom because of COVID, but it's still fun.
Yeah, it's still good.
So a booking coach, tell us a little bit about what a booking coach is, a celebrity booking coach.
Well, I got the celebrity status because I have celebrities like actors that have become celebrities. I just interviewed Wally Habib. He's in the United States of Al, and then Nadine Velasquez. Here I am dropping names, but I'm so proud of my people. Nadine Velasquez is coming out in Queens for ABC, and I have 53 network series regulars, an Emmy winner, and an Imaging winner, and not just thousands of people working around the world. And it's so nice, to get emails from people you guys follow me on Instagram. I'll give you a free a promo to my course if you follow me and DM me, and I'll give you.
Everybody follow her.
Yeah, so follow me because I always put up videos up there too. But anyway, it's just really nice that they write me and they say, oh, well, just from doing your course or just from reading your book, I booked. Or my callbacks are getting higher, because people come to me when either they're getting a lot of callbacks and they're not booking, or they haven't, they're just not booking. They're not even getting callbacks. Or they've come to me like a quarter of my series regulars have no other teacher but me, which is really kind of radical,
Yeah. Actually, I mean, you can be the best actor in the world, but if you can't audition, you can't book the role, you're never going to get a chance to prove that. And that's, the amazing thing that you've been able to do, people who are just have great talent or great potential, is you say, okay, let's teach you how to book that role so you get a chance to go out there and show everybody your stuff. And that's really incredible. But I know you're a lot like me, and because I've known you for so long and I've seen your passion, that there's so much to seeing somebody that, was struggling or didn't think they were going to make it in the business. And all of a sudden, they call you or they text you or they send you an email and they say, hey, I booked my first role and I'm a series regular on this TV show.
I know, it's amazing. Although I do yell at my people because they always hashtag or tag their agents, It's like, what about your coach, guys? Hello? And they're like, oh, yeah. I'm like, I feel like chopped liver sometimes. It's like, you got to thank the people. And I talk to people all the time about, giving your agents and managers and, call them up, find out what kind of salad that they like.
Right.
Like, send a salad over. Do
Right.
something, and don't give them flowers because it dies. Give them a plant. So every time that they look at it, they'll think of you, or a mug, like my I Am Enough mugs. Here we go, putting that in there. Or give them something that every time that they use it, they think of you. So then when they're doing their breakdowns, they'll click your name. But actors, they're the most gracious, wonderful, fantastic people, but they lose their minds sometimes. They just totally forget to thank the people that are helping them. Your agents are working for free, guys,
Yeah.
I mean,
I've been really fortunate.
don't you think that, Frank? Do your people tell you when they're booking?
Yeah, they tell me. They always tell me. We have a group. No, actually, I've been really, really lucky that way. My students, as you know, Michael came on here, and Jay come on here, and other people I've worked with have come on here after they started working and doing some stuff. I've been really lucky about that. They've come back to the school. They've sat down, let all the new students or the students who are kind of just getting into this ask all the questions they want. They've been really, really gracious. But yeah, I know that sometimes in this business, it becomes a whirlwind for these people. They all of a sudden they were
it's a lot. It's a lot,
and all of a sudden, boom, everything's happening at once.
Everything happens really fast, which is why, you guys, you have to get into shape, Nadine wrote me and told me how beautiful and wonderful the experience is, but it's a lot of work, when you're in every scene and the network is there and everybody, there's all eyeballs on you. It's like, are you worth the millions of dollars that they're spending? Because they spend millions of dollars.
Used to manage.
Yes.
You used to manage.
For 9 years.
Yes.
Long years. I still have people say to me, Amy, please manage me. They're like, I'll give you 40%. I'm like, no. They'll give you 80%. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, no.
Right.
I've learned so much. Adam Brody was one of my students. One of my clients, and Sarah Paxton when she was younger, and Yorgo Constantine and Brandon Baker. I negotiated his 3-picture deal with Disney. I'm like, yeah, I dropped him because I hated his mother. His mother just sucked.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but I actually opened up an agency. I don't know, must have been 9 years ago. And I did that for a very short period of time. And I had about 17 people. And it was like, no, I'm not doing this. You got to have a certain personality to do this. I don't want to.
No, you do have to have a certain personality. I'm too selfish for it, I think. When you're a coach, you're almost like a grandparent. You're like, okay, right. Go now. Whereas if you're representing them, the responsibility is just so enormous.
Oh, it is. I remember one of my students, unfortunately, they got held up in traffic. And this casting director calls me up and says, where is this person? Why aren't they on time? Don't your people take this serious?
The last thing that you want is for the casting director to be yelling at you, And it's so overwhelming. It's just too much.
Yeah, and it's for television show. It's for big television show. And I know they're under a lot of pressure, and I accept that. I don't take it personally. Now, on top of being the great booking coach that you are, you're actually a very terrific actress. You are absolutely fantastic. And the first chance I got to produce my first, I guess you would say my first major film.
Yeah.
I got the pleasure and honor of being able to have you come to be part of that and work. And your performance was just absolutely
fantastic. I got it on the first take.
What?
Dan was like, okay, we're done. Everybody's like, oh, okay, let's move on. I'm like, you're good, we're good, everybody good, all right. I guess I'll go eat something,
But you produce and you direct. I've seen a movie you produced and directed. It was so great. A period piece from the 60s. What was that called, in case anybody wanted
Odessa. But ironically, I'm on my 8th producer of Odessa. And I really think this guy's going to get it done. I have a good feeling about this guy. But you have to understand, I am so hopeful all the time, you know? I am such an artist like you guys. I'm always hopeful. Right. And I said to the guy, I said, listen, you know, I mean, the only way that I would give this up is if you brought in somebody of color to direct it. But I don't want to direct this, you know? I wrote it and I, you know, I could really see why people like, you know, like No Man Land, the reason why people won is because they wrote it, directed, and produced it, so nobody touched it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, my script has been through, like, the ringer already, but I have a good feeling about this next producer.
Oh, good. Now, I always tell my students when they're in class, I'm saying, you're not going to believe it when I say this, but the actual fact that any movie actually really ever gets completed is a miracle every single time. And
it's amazing. That's actually how I feel about commercials too. You know, I just had a commercial callback, and there were 8 women there, and in the callback they changed the entire callback. Yeah, I mean, the lines were changed. I mean, like, and she reeled off the lines so fast. It's like amazing that anybody books anything in the commercial world, because, you know, if you guys, that's why you guys have to stay so fluid. Like, you have to be like at zero. You can't have like a million things running through your head. You have to like go take a bath or a walk or go lift some weights or, you know, produce or eat sushi. I mean, go do something to calm you down, so when you receive feedback that A, you don't take it personally, B, it doesn't freak you out, C, that you're able to absorb it, you know?
Yeah, that's such great advice.
Yeah, because, I mean, I think the first thing that we think if somebody gives you feedback on a theatrical callback, or any time when you're in front of casting, I think the first thing we think is, oh God, I'm messing up. But the truth is, you're not. They see something in you and they really think that you're it. They really do. They really believe you're it. So just calm down, try to take in and let go of everything that you previously did, because obviously it wasn't working, because they're giving you feedback. So
a lot of actors, they take auditioning personally, but there's so many reasons why a person doesn't get a callback, or a person is not right for the role, or something like that.
Yeah.
That you know, has absolutely nothing to do with your talent. It's just,
you know, I gotta tell you something. I think it's really important to do this, and I do this all the time, which is look at who they cast in IMDb. And I will tell you this: half of the stuff that I auditioned for this year, either the character was cut out or the project wasn't made.
Right.
And so we as actors, we walk around going, oh, they didn't pick me. But the truth is they cut you. They cut you, or they haven't even gotten it made, or it's still in pre-production. And then if you look and see that they keep casting people that don't look like you at all and is a completely different type, then you represented well on your callback.
That's right.
You know, you were one of like 8 different ways to go. But if you see that the person looks like you, then you should definitely call me.
Oh, yeah, right. That's true. Very true.
Because you're not cutting it. You're just not cutting it.
but you know, I mean, I've sat in casting so many freaking casting sessions. You've sat in casting directions, and you see people come through and they got brilliant talent. They've got some about them, but that they're just not going to be right for that role. It's not what you're looking for. It's not the piece of the puzzle that works. And it has absolutely nothing to do with that person. So, you know, and I, you know, we've all been that insecure actor who goes out there, you know, and, you know, you get into a run where you're not booking anything, you're not getting any callbacks, and you start thinking it's all about you. But it actually sometimes it's just you've hit a kind of a, you know, like an air pocket. You know
what? I do want to bring something up called the essence of the actor. You know, a lot of times we'll shoot something in one frame, like a photo in one frame, and we'll put it up, but it's actually not your essence.
Right.
And so you might get the audition and you might get the callback because you're great. and you're giving them a run for their money, but television's going to hire what they're really looking for. Honestly, they really are. If it's film, they'll hire the talented person. But so be very clear when you're shooting your headshots that you're shooting the true essence of what you play. You know, like I really don't go above middle class. I mean, it doesn't matter how much money I would ever have or what car I would drive. My essence is still middle class all the way down to working. And
well, that's a step up for me. I get the drug addicts and
oh, I get drug addicts too, but for you stop there. You know.
Now, one of the wonderful things I think that you teach, you know, and I as long as I've been around those things, I've never seen anybody, but you're really good, especially at helping people book that co-star, that guest star role.
Yeah.
That understanding that the guest star is not a role that you're going to come in there and be really big in, because your guest stars are not supposed to be. You're not there to take control of that scene. You're there to move it along for somebody else's sake. And
yeah, actually, I just saw one of my students. It's in my master class, Alexa, and she was in The Good Doctor, and she told me the story about what happened on the set and how they kept like cutting her down until it was nothing. You know, if you don't really have a name when you're auditioning, stop stealing focus, guys. Just blend. You'll book a lot of commercials that way too.
Your turn will come. You don't have to go on there and be the stuff.
That's the thing, Frank. I think everybody's like, well, how are they gonna remember me? Well, because everybody else is clowning it up. You'll be the only one that's not doing it.
Oh, we remember the people come on and they're easy to work with. They don't cause us any headache. They're not over inflated egos. We remember because there are so many people out there who make shooting a film or doing a show or whatever so difficult that you have no choice but to remember it's a pleasure to remember those people who didn't give you a headache. You know,
yeah,
so
I think the biggest awakening I had was when I was I direct a lot of short films and pilots and stuff, and when somebody's in the makeup chair too long. And I was like, oh, I'm never going to be in the makeup chair that long ever again, because you really stress the director out when you spend too much time in the makeup chair, you know, because then you throw the production back. So it's like you don't think about these things. And then the director will remember that. Oh, that's that person that spent too long in the makeup chair.
Yeah. Especially people don't realize that this is a business, and every second that something's happening, it's costing somebody money. I mean, when you're not shooting and you're falling behind, and this is maybe makes you go into another half day or something like that. That's money that's being spent that's not been budgeted for. And so when you make a producer or a director's life easy just by doing your job, it's a pleasure to remember.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, because they'll totally remember you. They'll be like, oh, that person was really easy. You know, especially if you're going out for like big roles, stop reaching to the other person. Like they should be asking you out for a beer, you know? Yeah. And so you want to be that person that they want to hang out with, not you want to hang out with them. You see? Right. So that's the philosophy to get to a place where you're feeling so solid within yourself, you know, that people come to you.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely not a business where the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
That what?
This is not a business where the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
No, the squeaky wheel gets left behind. They look at the squeaky wheel as dysfunctional. That's what they do. They go,
right. The squeaky wheel gets removed from the vehicle and pushed back down the highway.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, they're too weak. You know, we don't want to have anything to do with the squeaky wheel. There's no more magical place than the set. You know that as well as I do. So a wonderful place. It's where the magic happens, and it's just
I mean, I would rather be picking up trash off a set than doing any other job in my life. I mean, I feel
that way too, but not necessarily for television, but definitely for film. You know, I shot a couple of features during COVID, and you know, some of them were on Zoom, and and the other half was on the set, and I would drive home, and I would be like, oh, there's nothing else I'd rather do. I mean, when all is said and done, Frank, seriously, we're just still actors, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, when all is said and done.
I mean, I can't think of any other job where I spent, you know, weeks and weeks and weeks putting in 15-hour days, 6 days a week. I would go home feeling so happy about the job, you know? And,
and then when you get paid really well for something, you're like, oh my God, I'm getting paid for this?
You're right.
You know, my father once said to me, because I said I was going to go do a film, and he's like, oh, how much are they paying you? I said, nothing. And he's like, what? What do you mean they're paying you nothing? He says, only in your business would you work for free. I said, well, you don't understand. I mean, you work because you want to get footage, because you love it. And he's like, I don't understand that.
Yeah, building relationships.
Yeah, you're networking.
Yeah.
There's nothing else you'd rather do in your life. And, you know, I don't think that he'll ever understand that.
No, but it's not his calling, it's your calling. And
exactly. Yeah.
And so many people. But we're about the halfway point. We're at the halfway.
Oh my God, we can like talk forever.
I know. And when you get here to town and we go have some dinner, we will go on forever.
Yes.
But I want to go ahead and turn that over. I know there are a lot of people who would like to ask you some questions, being the
really?
Yes. So
cool. Okay.
We got people watching us live, so let's go ahead and turn that over to have some people. The question will actually pop up on the screen, and I'll go ahead and read it out loud.
Okay.
And if you can go ahead and answer it.
Okay.
All right. Let's get those questions going. But if you're in Las Vegas and you're looking for a good acting school, you know, by all means, check us out. The number is right here on the screen. We do classes, auditions. We teach commercial acting. We have improv classes, on-camera classes. We have scene study. We have character development and all those things. So again, the number is over here right on the screen, 702-829-4104. We've got some specials going, and we're going to pull Amy in here sometime early next year during pilot season. Okay, so we got a question from somebody on the YouTube channel. Says, you talked about actor's essence. Can you speak more to that?
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely can. You know, when I was casting Odessa many years ago, there were two women that came in, and one was Dr. King's daughter, Yolanda King. And Yolanda King, because of her father, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., she had such pain, inherent pain already. She might not have been the look that I was looking for, but she had the essence. Whereas this other woman came in, she was a seasoned theater actress, had 1 million credits. She had exactly the look that I wrote. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is film. She had exactly the look that I wrote, but she had to play the pain. She wasn't the pain. So
that's beautiful. That's a beautiful answer.
Yeah. So the essence of who you are, like you look at me and you're like, oh, okay, well, what is Amy a cross between? Well, she's a cross between like Jennifer Coolidge, who has all my jobs. I mean, I wish that I had met like Christopher Guest back in the day, you know? Like, that's what you need to do, guys. You need to align yourself with a great filmmaker that becomes like a TV person, like a Ryan Murphy, and then you work all the time. Like, know your type, you know? And so, like, if you could do what you're a cross between. So I'm a cross between Jennifer Coolidge, Bette Midler, Kirstie Alley, and Goldie Hawn. Wouldn't you say that, Frank?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with that more.
Yeah, did I miss anybody?
No, I don't think so. I think that nails it.
So you guys, if all of you guys could figure out what you're a cross between and what your socioeconomic status would be, you know,
Right.
because you could play blue collar, but unless you understand blue collar, I remember back in the day they were like, they wanted me to play a stripper. Now I can understand trailer park. I can understand alcoholic drug addict. Okay. But I couldn't understand stripper. So I went to a strip club. Okay. I went to a strip club and I just sat there trying to feel the essence of these strippers. And I even talked to a couple of them just to get a feel for, like, why does somebody become a stripper? What their energy was, how they held themselves, how they moved with their body, even when they were just sitting still. Not that they were just like going like this or anything, but
Yeah.
But it's the way you hold yourself.
Right.
Because I hope that answers the question. Yeah.
I used to always say to people, well, how do you see me? What's my type? And I always get the same answer from people. I mean, the older people. They'd always
What do they say?
Warren Oates. They'd always say Warren Oates.
Warren
Warren
Oates.
Oates. I didn't even know who that was.
Who's Warren Oates? Who is that?
He was actually a character actor back in the 60s and 70s. Did a lot of westerns and stuff like that. And when I looked at him, we do have a similar look.
Well, you might.
Like, the guy died in like 1975. I mean,
you might want to ask some younger people.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think it's good to, like, I did this exercise when I was doing career consultations, workshops. I would have somebody stand up in front of the class and not talk at all. And everybody would write down what they saw them playing, like nurse, doctor. But I would always say, don't just say that, say what show it is, Like, right. Is this a doctor on New Amsterdam? Or is it a doctor on, like, that's coming in on a Criminal Minds? Like what's the feel of the doctor? Any other questions?
Do we have another question? Come on, guys, throw your questions up there. I know you're there. I can see you. To stay fluid, to change, and keep our minds open, what advice would you give to calm nerves before and during an audition?
Great question. Turn off your phone. Turn off your phone. Turn off your phone. Turn off your phone. Like, I won't talk to my mother before an audition. I love my mother so much, but I won't talk to her before an audition because I take her on.
And she is such a beautiful woman.
I know, isn't she gorgeous?
Yes.
Yeah. So I take her on, because I love her so much. And the people in our lives, and especially if you're an actor, you're an empath, you're going to feel the other person's energy and you're going to take them on. And if it's not the character's energy, it's going to leave you off balance. So when I talk about that, I talk about, like, getting to a place where you wake up in the morning, and I start with the shoes. Like, what is my character wearing on her feet? And so I start with the shoes, and then I dress like the character. I take a shower like the character. I drive like the character. I listen to music like the character. And my whole energy is about this person. And I put myself in, like, this bubble where I get into the gooey center of the character. And I start working on my opening emotion. And what is the opening emotion of the character? And I stay very clear with where that emotion is for me in a deep personal way, and I sit and meditate on it. And then I don't jump off until it's completely centered within me. And then I create the environment, and the environment is so important, especially when you're doing self-tapes, because you can't feel like you're doing a self-tape. So you want to create a place, and you want to see everything, and feel the energy of the place. Do you see I keep talking about energy? Because as actors, you want to pick up the energy of the character and the place that they're in so you can feel the tone and the style. and the grit of where it is you are. And then the third thing I do is work on the person that I'm talking to. It cannot be the reader. It has to be the energy of the person that you're with in the scene. And how do you talk to that person? How do you feel that person? Because, the way I talk to my best friend is going to be different than the way I talk to somebody that I'm annoyed with,
That's true.
Yeah, or like somebody at the store, I'm going to talk to everybody differently based on who they are to me. And so those are the three things. And then you'll be so busy with all those things and the way that you wake up in the morning and sitting and marinating on your opening emotion, you won't have time to think about yourself.
That's such a great answer. One of their comments came as a very articulate. Now, I just want to back up a second before we go to another question. Now, we were talking about what your type is, or who the biggest fear I've always had, and this is funny, the biggest fear that I've always had about people saying, like, what's your type? I've always had this fear of people saying Stephen Buscemi.
Well, I'm sorry, Frank. That was going to be my first thing that I was. Hey, you want to hear something funny about Steve Buscemi? Steve Buscemi is huge in Mexico because there's a guy that dubs him, and he's got this really cool, sexy voice. So he doesn't sound like Steve Buscemi. He sounds really sexy. So Steve Buscemi is a star in Mexico.
Oh, he's a brilliant actor. I got a chance to meet him on the set of Burt Wonderstone, and he's a very, very nice man and very, very talented. But but
you're way better looking than him, Frank.
Oh, thank you. Oh, wow. Do we have any more questions, or do we have any comments?
I think you're talking about like squirrely, like that squirrely kind of thing. My biggest issue is after going through the breakdown of a scene, I tend to not remember the words all the way through, but I end up using some of the words that I used to replace those words. Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel you on that, Raph. The biggest thing that I have to say to you guys is keep talking around the dialogue and then lay the line on top. And then when you feel that line, and if you keep falling out, go back in and break down that line into smaller pieces, because you're allowing that hole to still be there. So, Raph, you're allowing your words to still be there. And instead of saying, well, why did the writer use that one word? Like really spending time saying, why did the writer use that one word?
Right.
Like, as opposed to the word that I want to keep using.
Right.
Because sometimes that will make such a difference in your approach and in your understanding of how the character speaks. And when you can understand the way the character speaks and why they would use that word, why they would punctuate on that comma, why there's a ... and really spending time with that. I believe that actors like to work on stuff that's fun, and the stuff that's like annoying, they don't want to bother with, but that's what's going to get you in the end.
Right. Right.
So spend the time on the small stuff. Because that one word, and another good thing to do is if there's a word that you keep tripping on, like give me a word that you might trip on, Frank, so I could use it as an example.
Oh,
like it could be a technical word.
Like a specific. Specific would be a word that I would constantly trip on.
Specific? Okay, so you go specific, and then you close your eyes and then you spell it. Okay, you spell it to yourself, S-P-E, and you see the words in your mouth. If you see the words in your mouth, then you're not going to tongue tie on it, and then go S-P-E-C-I-F-I-C, specific, and that's a good way to do it.
That's a great answer. I know we have another question. Let's get that up there. Go ahead.
Eric, how do we take headshots that match our essence? Good question. You guys are coming up with great questions. Okay. The way you do that is that you look at how everybody else has hired you so far. Even if you're done plays, like what do you always end up playing, and then you'll start noticing it's kind of the same thing over and over. Like I've played like 12 different variations of Alcoholics, you know, like literally, you know, and or wild, crazy, funny, like broad comedy, crazy like Lucy comedy, or Will and Grace kind of comedy. And so I need to have those photos to back up and the clips to back up what other people have already cast me as.
That's a great answer. That is such a great answer.
And start writing adjectives out, you know, like gold digger, or maybe you play a con artist a lot, or maybe you play a seedy character, or maybe you play a rich housewife, or maybe you play like a con artist. Like, what do you play a lot of? And then write a bio for that person. And so then when you take your headshots, you are acting your session and producing your session, and you're not just shooting headshots.
Right. That's such a brilliant answer. You know, we were talking earlier about the essence, or what are you going to play? And I was thinking about Penny. You remember Penny?
I love Penny.
You know, Penny. You know, she's going to play the upper crust all the time.
Very rich.
Elizabeth Taylor
Yes.
feel, the Joan Collins, and that's how they're gonna book her. I mean, she's not gonna play middle class.
Yeah, and then she went and did that video, which totally encapsulates. The video is just off the charts. It totally represents who that person is. So her agent will take that beautiful picture, upscale picture, and hopefully match it with that clip, and chances of her getting an audition will accelerate.
And she's a beautiful woman, but she has that upper crust look. That's to send her on anything else would, you'd be putting her in a position where she's not going to probably book that, and she's going to see a lot of no's because her essence is upper class.
But I'm going to throw a wrench in it. Okay.
You throw a wrench. You hit me in the forehead.
I once played a wife of a serial killer. Okay. Now, if it was me, I was married to him for like 30 years or 28 years or something like that. Like, if it was me on the first date, I would say, dude, you're a serial killer, man. So if it was Amy, I would go, oh, you're a freaking serial killer. Okay. But this woman had kids with him. It's B.T.K. So if you ever want to watch that movie, it's on Amazon, I think. And Kane Hodder from he was Jason in all the Friday Night movies. He played my husband, and the way that I would play it I have to know what I'm already going in with. So I had to get rid of my edge. I had to round out my syllables and sound like I was from the Midwest.
Yeah.
I had to get rid of anything that would indicate anybody, like knowing anything. So
okay, we have another question. So let's push that up.
Do you have any advice for making sure you don't over prepare? If you're over prepared because you're running the shit out of it, dude. And that's why that's happening. I think if you section it out into beginning, middle, and end, and work on your sections, and like I was talking about earlier to Raph, really breaking down into smaller pieces, and then feeling it and asking yourself, do I really know what I'm saying here? Do I really know what I'm feeling? Do I really know what I'm doing? Then you can never work too much on it. But if you're running your scenes or your monologues a million times for anybody that'll take you, that's why you've lost all the juice. The juice is inside, So the more you sit on it, the better off it's going to be. So you're running the crap out of it. You're not breaking it down. So that's why it goes flat on you.
It's like that crying scene they have you do. You cry. And then it's cut 22. It's like,
The reason why it's not still there is because, a lot of times we'll read something and then cry,
Yeah.
It's because we had an initial impact to it, but just because you have an initial impact to it doesn't mean it really is a great trigger.
Right. Well, you've been out to my school a couple of times, and you've always been very complimentary. I've always appreciated it. And I haven't had the chance to go out to LA and be part of what you do. I'd love to do that someday. But a lot of my students have. They tell me you're tough as nails, which you have to be in this business, and you're, by hands down, I mean, the best booking coach that this business has ever produced. Obviously, that's not me just saying that. The proof is in all the people that you've helped book roles, and it's incredible. All my students always look so forward to having you come out and talk to us. And I'm anxious to have you out again. I always like having you out in the winter time.
Yeah, it's always fun. Your students are like, whoa.
Yeah, right. And then I'm like, oh, good. I'm gonna let them have her for a while, and then and then I'll be walking out of the room and say, you go, and where are you going? I have a scene for you. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, get your butt sitting in here. You're participating today.
Yeah. Well, every time that I come out, I'm gonna work you out.
Yeah, you do. And I enjoy it. I love it. And I love hanging out with you afterwards. We always have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
As long as I don't interfere with you winning, that's all.
Yeah, as long as I'm winning at the casino, everything's good.
So
it's important that everybody know that if you guys wanted to learn the booking technique, you could sign up for the November classes, but it's less expensive to do the course online. Follow me on Instagram and DM me and tell me you're one of Frank's people. Just say I'm with Frank. That's the code word. I'm with Frank, right? And then I'll send you a promo code. You could also go on and get a free week on my business site for actors and do all the assignments on there. I have resume templates, interview templates. Oh my God, I'm coaching 115 people on there. It's called theactorstoolbox.net. And so go on there and get a free week and stay on there and do all the assignments. Listen to all the lectures.
Am I still on there?
Probably. I don't take anything off. Do you know how much is on there right now? I started 10 years ago.
But you're an incredible person too, incredible friend. I value our friendship.
I do too.
You're the person that like when my acting world falls apart, I'm there for all my students. Like,
yeah, I'm a phone a friend. You're like,
I got that. Yeah, you know what? To be tough. This is the business. You're the person when the world starts to crumble around me. I call you, say, "Oh, Frank, knock it off. Straighten it up. Get that back straight." No, you're.
Wait, well, I'm nice first.
Yeah, you are. But you've been there. You say, "Hey, look, Frank, this is the way that."
It's not toolkit, toolbox. The actor's toolbox.
You always have been of me. Very supportive, always since the dad met you. If you're in Vegas and you're looking for a good acting school, we've got classes that go on 6 days a week. If you're in LA,
you guys go see Frank.
Booking Amy, there's nobody better than booking than Amy. Right there is her Actors Toolbox net. You get a free week, so feel free to do that. If you're interested in getting a free class here with us, just give us a call at that number, and we'll get you set up with a free class. We've also got some Zoom classes that you can attend. But between the two of us, I mean, we're a knockout team.
Yeah, we're tag teaming.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, loved having you on. We're a little over. Thank you so much.
I loved every second, Frank.
Yes.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thanks for the wonderful questions, and I'll see you guys next week. I'm going to be talking to Keith Coogan, whose grandfather was Jackie Coogan, who started the Jackie Coogan account. But we're going to be talking about Keith and his own career, so look forward to seeing you guys next Saturday. Bye.